Hi everyone, and welcome back to my YouTube channel. And this is part 2 of the video. The first one was things that I wish I knew before I moved to Canada, and this video is going to talk about things that I've learned since being in Canada. So this wouldn't be a video of me without my favourite cup of coffee, which is French vanilla from Tim Hortons. So we'll start off with things that I've learned since being here. So point number 1, friendliness. So how friendly are the Canadians? Well, they're super friendly. So everyone that you see in the streets will stop and say hi to you. If I'm walking Simba, people will stop and say good morning, hello. I mean, it would be strange if somebody in England was to do that. I mean, I don't know where you guys live, and if you have neighbourhoods like that, then that's lovely. But I'm not used to people stopping and talking to you and having a chat. People just don't have the time. Everyone just seems so busy in England that we don't have time to be nice to people. So the other day I was going through the drive-through at the local Tim Hortons around the corner, and I got to the window to pay, and they said, oh, just to let you know, the car in front has put $2.20 towards your order today. And I was thinking, Taylor was sat next to me saying, who is the person in front? Do they know us? Who are they? Did they see us? Are they from YouTube? And I was like, no, I don't think so. I have no idea who was in front. And I come home and told my cousin, and she said that the same thing happened to her before. And that is just a general act of kindness that people do. And you could just, so it's made me think, well, maybe next time I go, I didn't today, sorry people, but next time I keep on trying to think about it, that I will pay for somebody's coffee and have them go to the counter and not have to pay. It's just a really nice thought, and it just makes you think that people are just really friendly. And another thing to note is that people, like in the street that we're in at the moment, everyone kind of knows everyone. It's kind of like a small villagey feeling. This is relating to where I am living in Canada, which is Innisfil, in Ontario in Canada. So there are lots of other places, I guess, bigger cities that you won't have this hometown feel, but here especially I've got that hometown feel and I love it. And where everyone's so friendly, I'm just not used to that in the UK. So I remember buying my first home in Gosport in Hampshire, and I moved in and I saw the next door neighbour outside in his garden, and I thought, oh, I'll just go and introduce myself. So I said, oh, hi, I'm Kat, I'm your new neighbour. And he turned around and said, all right. All right. Okay, so that's how friendly they were in my neighbourhood in Gosport. Nobody wanted to speak to me, and I remember walking down the street and the neighbour would be walking towards me, and they would pretend that I wasn't there and then just look the other way. I mean, I don't know what I did to insult them other than say, hi, I'm Kat, I'm your new neighbour. But they didn't want to talk, whereas here, I've made friends with all of the neighbours, and they invite you around to their gardens, and it's just lovely. And I'm really hoping that when we move out of here, we can find a similar neighbourhood where everyone is friendly with everyone, and it's just nice. It's nice to have nice neighbours, and I just wasn't getting that from where we were living before, but I've got that now. Point number 2, no direct debits. So out here, things go on trust, which seems crazy because I'm just not used to that. In England, if I wanted to get a phone contract, they won't give you the phone until you've signed a direct debit mandate form. Out here, there is no form. They will just give you the phone and give you a phone contract, and that's it. You just sign a piece of paper to say you agree to pay this much a month. They don't ask you for any bank details. You give nothing. So it is down to you to pay that bill on time. They do give you the options. So once you've actually set up an account, you can choose to pay by automatic transfer, so they would take the money, but that's not enforced. So in England, as I said, you would have to sign one of these to get a phone contract or to get anything like internet. So we had the internet set up out here, and they literally turned up the next day, didn't ask for any banking information, and then they'll just send you an email to say, oh, this is due and this is the bill, and then you just have to go on and pay it. It's bizarre and it blows my mind, but that's how it works out here. And I think it's actually quite good that you don't have to fill in a direct debit mandate. Maybe people in England need it taken from the bank and can't pay it themselves. I don't know, but it works out here, and this is how it is. So another thing to note with the payment side of things is that payment from work out here is generally what they call bi-weekly. So instead of getting paid monthly, you would get paid every 2 weeks. It also works out that you could pay your bills bi-weekly. So you could have the option of paying your mortgage, say monthly, or you could pay your mortgage and bills bi-weekly. So it seems that there's negatives and positives, I guess, to any situation. So I guess if you get paid monthly, like I did back in England, you spend all of your money at the beginning of the month. And then I guess for me, 5 days after I've been paid, I'm then struggling to get to the end of the month because I've blown it all on nails and hair and everything. Whereas here, I think it probably works out better that you get paid every 2 weeks, because if I've spent all my money, I've only got a week and a bit to wait as opposed to nearly a whole month. So that I quite like. I haven't been paid yet because I've literally just started a new job. So I started a new job last week, I think, and Scott has also started a new job as well. So once we get into the payment cycle, then I'll let you know how that works. But at the moment, I just know that we're going to be getting paid every 2 weeks. Next point is milk. So we don't get milk in cartons out here. Now, I think you can get a carton of milk, but I will show you what it looks like. So if you get milk in a carton, this is going to be the kind of size that you're going to get your milk in. Not like the big 6 litres or 4 litres carton, like plastic cartons that you get in the UK. It's in, how big is this? 1 litre cartons like this. And it's more expensive to buy it like that. So out in Canada, or in the area that I'm in specifically, it's purchased in bags. So instead of buying a carton, you have a plastic jug, and then you buy milk bags, and you would literally just stick the bag of milk in the jug and then snip the end off and pour it like that. So that is how they do milk out here. It works out a lot cheaper to buy it in bags, and it's actually quite good. It's just getting used to it. It's not something that I'm used to yet, but it's different, and you just store I guess the bags are easier to store in the fridge than they are if you've got a couple of cartons, and I guess it will last longer, because if you've opened the carton, a big carton, then it can go off quicker, whereas if you're buying the smaller bags of milks, you're going to use it, and you're going to use it more efficiently, I guess. The next point is safety. So I can't explain it, and there's no scientific evidence to prove my point, but what I would say is that it feels safer out here as a community. So everyone is looking out for everyone else in the street. So Taylor will come home from school and he'll say to me, "Mummy, I'm going to go out and play." Now in England, I would allow him, if his friends come over, I would allow him in the garden or on the driveway. We lived right next to the seafront, and I did not want him going without adult supervision down to the beach, down to the park. That kind of just worried me. Whereas here, I'm allowing him to go away from my sight with his friends, and there's houses all down the street, and I think Taylor must have been to every single house on the street because they've all got kids. And he's introduced himself to the whole neighborhood. He goes around their houses. He goes to the bowl, which I think you've seen on one of my previous videos, which is like a toboggan hill. That's at the end of the road, and I'm quite comfortable in letting him go with his friends and go out even when it's dark, just in the street, which is like a really nice quiet street. I'm happy that everybody else sort of keeps an eye on everybody else's kids, and people will send me a message and say, oh, Taylor's with us, and just to let you know he's doing fine, he's playing here, we'll let you know when he leaves. And it's just like a really nice community, and it just feels lovely that I can be comfortable in letting Taylor go out to play. Whereas I guess when I was younger in England, I used to go out to play, but I think times change and you see a lot more knife crime and gang violence, and it just becomes one of those places that you think, I'm not so sure, I don't quite want him going out. And I think it's just sad that times have changed that way, and it doesn't feel safe to let your kids out. But here, at the moment, touch wood, I'm happy with it, and I do feel comfortable. And I think there probably are other places in Canada that they feel the same. And I think I was reading statistics that said that most Canadians do feel safe in their own neighbourhoods and don't feel a threat. I think it would be different if we were living downtown Toronto or nearer a bigger city, and I would probably be more aware and not let Taylor out. But around here, I just think it's lovely that he can go out and that it's a safe little neighbourhood and it's a community, and I love it. The next point to point out is the cost of water. So I'm not a big tap drinker fan. I'm a bit of a water snob. I don't want to drink from the tap. If the tap looks a bit funny, then that doesn't appeal to me. I want to drink it out of a bottle. It probably comes from somewhere. They probably pour it out of a tap into the bottle, but hey, my theory is that I prefer drinking bottled water. Now in England, bottled water is expensive. So you buy, if I wanted to go to work and buy sort of one bottle of Evian or something, then that's going to cost like £1.30 or something at the moment for a bottle of water. Out here, I've bought 24 case of water, like bottled water, from the supermarket, and it cost $1 something. That's like not even £1, that's like 50 to 70p. That's how much it cost for 24 bottles of water. It's ridiculous how much they're overcharging in the UK and how much you're getting water for in Canada. It blows my mind, but I'm happy with that. We can drink bottled water as much as we want, because for $1, Scott isn't going to be complaining about that. The next thing to point out is points cards. So there are literally points cards for everything. So when I went to the LCBO, which I'm not even sure what that stands for, but that's where you get your alcohol from. So you wouldn't buy your gin and your vodka from Walmart. They don't sell it. You would go to a specific alcohol shop for your alcohol. I think in some supermarkets they do have like a wine section, but for spirits you would go to LCBO. Now, when I was in there, they offered me an Air Miles card, and you then start collecting your Air Miles. I then realised that people in other stores ask for your Air Miles card, so you're constantly creating points. There's a supermarket here called Zehrs, and they have what's called a PC Optimum cards points. So you're getting points and then you get money off further shopping, and you have offers. So I've got one of those cards. Then if you want petrol, you have a petrol card and you get points for that. There is literally just points for everything. I think in the UK I had a Boots card and a Nectar card, but I can't remember having literally cards for everything. I went to a place called Winners, which is like TK Maxx, and now I've got a Winners card and you get points for that. I've got a credit card out here just with my bank, a normal credit card, and I didn't realise that I'm getting cash back for every time I buy something with my credit card. So it's just, they live off of points and coupons, and I haven't used the coupons so much, so I've heard that a lot of people will fund their entire shopping trip by coupons. I haven't used them yet, but I'm getting used to the difference in how it works out here and swiping my cards every time. Oh yeah, Tim Hortons, of course, Tim Hortons, I've got a rewards card for them, and I can get coffees or donuts, but I'll want my coffees. But yeah, points, cards, coupons, that is the way forward in Canada. You will have a card for everything, so get a big purse. The next thing, and now this is a slightly negative thing, is rust. Rust on cars. So as you saw, or as you may have seen from my previous video when I bought my car out here, it wasn't an really old car. I think it was 2016 or 2017 GMC Terrain. It was in pristine condition. I've had it 2 months and there are already 2 rust spots on it and paint chipping off on the inside of my door, exposing rust. And I was just mind blown, like, why? I've never known a car to rust within that amount of time. And it's, from researching it, it's the weather conditions out here, the salt on the road, because they're salting their roads all the time, it's corroding the paint of the car. So now that I've realized that, I don't want it to get any worse. So I'm going to have to look at contacting a company to rust proof the car. But I'm now going to have to fix the damage from the rust. I mean, it's just things that you just don't think of in England. I've owned many cars over the years and I've never had an issue of rust. You see some cars driving around that you can't even see the paint, it's just rust. I don't want my car to get to that. But that is the first sort of negative point that I've noticed, is that cars, you're going to have to maintain them a lot harder and you're going to have to clean your cars a lot better, because by regular cleaning, you're going to stop the rust process. But being a girl, and I hope that there are lots of other females out there like me, whose cars are not exactly that great on the inside. I think that we normally find that men in the house, they're messy, and then their cars are immaculate, whereas women keep the house tidy and then the cars is just like, I've got probably coffee cups, bits of shopping bags, handbags, about 1 million face masks. That is kind of, the car is kind of my dumping ground. And I hope people can relate to that. But I've had to take my car for a drive wash this morning, a drive-through car wash this morning to get it cleaned, and I'm going to have to now tackle the rust situation. So another thing that I have learned since I've been out here is things with regards to driving out here. So in Canada, or I don't know about the whole of Canada, but specifically in Ontario, you can actually drive your car through a red light if you are turning right. And I actually think that's quite a good idea, because in England you could be sat at traffic lights for ages, it seems pointless, there's no cars coming, but you still can't go. But out here you can. Now, there are some confusing things that I've seen on the road. So I was coming up to a junction before, and there was like a 4-way junction, and the traffic lights were just flashing. All of the traffic lights were flashing. So it was indicating that there was a fault with the traffic lights. But in England, you wouldn't really get that. That would be picked up immediately and somebody would be there. Out here, there wasn't. It was like that for ages, just flashing. And you have all of these people speeding up to the junction, and then you've just got to like keep an eye out and look at who's going to go first. There's a lot of stop signs. So out here, if you see a stop sign, you don't just stop if there's things coming, you have to stop, it's law. So even if there's nothing coming, you would have to drive up to the stop sign and stop before you move on. Even if the roads are completely clear, always stop at the stop sign. Now, the other thing that confused me, because there's no roundabouts, I mean, I have seen a couple of roundabouts, but there's mainly not roundabouts, it's just mainly junctions and straight roads. And there are some areas that have got a stop sign on every junction facing in. So then it's a case of, I think, looking to your right, and if there's somebody to your right, then you let them go, and it follows like on, I guess, like on a roundabout, that you would check to the other side before you go. But then if you all come up at the same time to each 4 junction, it's supposed to be kind of whoever arrives first and you can acknowledge. But I end up sat there for ages thinking, I don't know what I'm doing. And then I think, oh, I will go. And then somebody's beeping me and I'm like, I don't know what I'm doing. But stay safe on the roads. But there are some differences in your driving out here. So just keep an eye on that. So the other point is drinks out here, so soft drinks. So if you're going to a restaurant and you order a soft drink, generally from what we've found, it's always free refills. So you wouldn't have to, like in England, if we ever went out and the designated driver was having a Coke, we would generally have to buy another Coke if he'd finished that. Whereas out here, they don't, they'll just bring some more and it's all included in the price, which is really quite good. I haven't found anywhere here yet that will charge you extra. It generally seems to be free refills. Please remember, this is all based on my experience from coming to Canada, and this may differ from areas, it may differ from provinces, or you might just say, well, that's a load of rubbish and that doesn't happen. But this is what has happened and what I have found from moving out here. The next thing is food portions. They're massive. I can't even tell you how big the food portions are out here. So quite often we've gone to a restaurant and I thought, oh, okay, I say quite often, I mean, it's been locked down for ages. We've only managed to go to a restaurant a few times while in, when it opened up a little bit, it's closed back down now. But we've been to the restaurants and I thought, oh yeah, I'll have a starter, that sounds nice, and I'll have this for main. Can't do it. Eyes are definitely bigger than my belly. So what I would recommend out here for anyone that is from England whose appetite is at a normal level is you can quite easily share a starter out here. Even if it says for one person, you could easily share a starter and share a main and just cut the cost of your dinner bill, because otherwise it's just wasted. Every single time we've eaten out here, we've had to have a box, and then you box up your food so that as not to waste it. You bring it home, you put it in the fridge, and then it just goes off because you don't get around to eating it again. So sharing food, I would say, is a good way forward. So I'm just going to do a couple of question and answers for people that have messaged me asking questions. So I have been asked, obviously in Canada, the general holiday allowance is 2 weeks, which seems mental to us that in England, I think where the standard is 4 weeks or 5 weeks holiday, out here it's only 2. So you have to build up your holiday entitlement by staying loyal to a company, working at a company, and then they will give you more holiday. I think some companies you may get more than 2 weeks originally, but it really does depend. The standard is 2 weeks. So I've been asked, how do parents and mothers cope in Canada when they've only got 2 weeks holiday a year and then the kids have got 2 months off in the summer holidays? So I asked that question to my cousin and she responded with camps. So they would send their kids out here to summer camps. So some people might have parents look after their children, but if you don't have that luxury, then quite often the families would send their kids to summer camps, day camps that they can do activities in. I'm not sure of the cost because I haven't got that far yet. So once it happens in the summer, and if COVID's not a nightmare and summer camps are happening, then I will report back and tell you all how much that's costing and how it works. But yeah, that's what I've been told, is that that's how they combat it. From still working, they would send them to camp. So I've been asked about what grade kids would be out here in school-wise. So my son Taylor, he's 9, he's almost 10. In England, he was in year 5, but out here, he is in what's called grade 4. So I'm not sure sort of at what is the cutoff for what grade they're in, but I think it's generally like you're like a grade down from what you would be a year group in the UK. And then I've been asked about how long kids are in school out here. So they have got what's called elementary school out here, which they would go from the age of 4 till the age of 13. Now, actually what I found out here, which is quite interesting, is that kids do not need to go to school until they are 6. So you can send your kid to school at 4, but it's only mandatory to send them in Ontario at the age of 6. So that's an Ontario ruling, that if you wanted to homeschool your child until they're 6, then by law in Ontario, they're cool with that, that's fine. After elementary school, they would go to high school from after they're 13, and they would stay there until they're 17, 18. So that would take them grade 9, 10, 11, and 12. So that's when they would then finish school after that grade and go to college. But that's how the schooling system works out here. Now, I'm sure that there are loads of things that I've missed of different things that I have learned since being here, but I will have to cover them on other videos when that comes up. There's just too much to cover and there's so much going on. But if anyone has got any questions that they want me to answer on one of my next videos, then please feel free to comment below, and I will do my best to answer all of your questions and get to you as soon as possible. So thank you again for watching, everyone. I hope this has been informative to you. Please remember that this is my experience based on moving from the UK to Innisfil in Ontario, and things might differ throughout the provinces, but this is my personal experience, and thank you for watching, guys. If you'd like to continue watching and learn some new things and continue watching on my adventures, then please like and subscribe and tune in again to my channel to see the next video. Thanks, guys.